Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is January 7th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery here. You can see the state of California, the cold air dropping down, engulfing much of the southwest here. Storm continues to pivot through Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico as we speak. Some very gusty, powerful northwest winds. We had some thunderstorms out there yesterday, dropped some nice snow across the mountainous areas, and even had some blowing dust reported at Las Vegas International Airport. We've also got additional systems on the way. You can see this cold air back here across the Gulf of Alaska, and that's going to be moving up over the top of the ridge and down across, again, the southwest USA and bringing another system. We've also got the potential for another dynamic storm as we go towards next weekend. We'll take a look at what the weather models have to say about that. Hazardous surf up and down the coastline, off and on again through the upcoming week here. Minor coastal flooding, especially when it correlates with some of this high tide activity. So heads up there, especially if you're out there surfing or whatnot, or if you're just going to view in the ocean, stay off the rock jetties, going to give yourself some space. Don't turn your back on the ocean. Chilly tonight, and this is going to be a theme here over the next few days as well. Look at some of the higher terrain getting well below freezing, and even some of the outlying areas for San Diego and Los Angeles could be dropping down into the lower 30s out there. Very chilly, especially in wind-sheltered areas across the deserts and even across some areas north. There's frost and freeze warnings that I'll show you in a moment. Marine weather outlook, and this is for Northern California. Just a reminder here that the marine conditions will deteriorate again as we go through this week coming up. Nothing as severe as the later portion of December that we had, but still it could be somewhat high impact. Looking at frost advisory and freeze warning through Monday morning here, you can see some of the frost advisory and freeze warnings here up and down the central coast towards the Bay Area. Some very chilly temperatures coming in here for tomorrow, Monday morning, and for Tuesday morning. If you're leaving pets outside, you might want to bring them in for a few days. Gusty winds today, check it out. And again, I mentioned that blowing dust at Las Vegas. That's going to continue on in through tonight. That wind advisory goes on through 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here. And this graphic was issued today by Las Vegas National Weather Service. Here's freeze warning for portions of Arizona as well and some of the deserts. This goes on through Tuesday morning. Also, it could be some moderate impacts, some pretty chilly temperatures with this cold air mass engulfing much of the southwest. Winter weather advisories, and this is late this morning through this evening here. This is issued this morning, and you can see 2 inches if possible down towards 3,000 feet. So heads up if you're going off into the higher terrain. Phoenix would be right there, and you can see the higher terrain to the north and some areas off to the east with that potential snowfall. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Nice ultrasonic anemometer, lightning detection system. Stores all the data for you in the cloud so you can see your home weather station no matter where you go. Now, taking a look at the NAM3KM, I want to show you here. You can kind of see these winds. You got some westerly winds across the higher terrain of Southern California, northwest gusty winds. As you can see, the storm pivoting here across Arizona and New Mexico as we go through this evening, and the gusty winds will continue on in through tomorrow morning. Get a little bit of a break in that gradient here, but then we're going to pick them back up again, especially across Northern California and some of the higher terrain as we go through Tuesday afternoon in advance of the next system. And you can see the winds really pick up there across some of Southern California. Also, again, out of the northwest here. More on that here in upcoming days as well, but we'll take a look at some of the timings on these systems starting now. This is last night's European run, and here goes the storm pivoting through Arizona and New Mexico as we speak. We get a little bit of a break here. Weak impulse moving through as we go through the day, late Monday into Monday night. But then the next system starts rolling in here on the day Tuesday, and you can see, again, a few more inches for some of the Sierra Nevada here, and then we bring a stronger storm in as we go through the day Wednesday. Another round of mountain snow potentially here, and that pivots down across eventually across some of Southern California as well. Well, I'll show you the extended one on that here in a moment, but you can see by the time we get into Wednesday afternoon, the snow is going to be flying again across the Sierra Nevada, portions of Nevada, Northern California, and some rainfall for the Bay Area as well. Now, looking at wave heights, I just want to show you guys this, that when this next system comes into the Pacific Northwest and brings that additional wave action as we go through the midweek period here upcoming, and then there's another system potentially rolling through this upcoming weekend that might keep that wave action going fairly nicely along a lot of the coastal areas all the way down towards Baja eventually there as we go on into the early portion of next week. Now, taking a look at the European, I wanted to show you last night's run here because this is the system rolling through there, and then you can see that cold air here. It's going to bring a nice windstorm here to some of the Pacific Northwest, and then we're going to get this cooler air mass. Again, some model disagreement on just how cold this air mass is and how much of the Southwest it's going to engulf. But the European has a pretty notable system here rolling through as we go through the day Wednesday. And then we turn our eyes to the weekend here. As you can see, this one kind of rolling off the coastline there. That would have some interesting moisture tap and could bring some interesting amounts all the way down through Southern California. Strong frontal system there as well. As you can see, that polar lobe swinging across the western portion of the USA through the extended forecast. But we'll be working out those details here as we go on into the future. Now, looking at the European, this is 24-hour running total. Here goes the storm through Arizona and New Mexico. Then we bring that weak system on Tuesday, and then that stronger storm here as we go through the day Wednesday into Wednesday night, Thursday morning. You can see some nice amounts across the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada. We will definitely take it. We are below average in our snowpack and our snow water equivalent conditions across the mountains. And then look at this weekend. The European really wants to bring some big snowfall amounts of that next storm into the Sierra Nevada here. So cross your fingers for that one. We'll see how that trends here over the next few days as well. This is the GFS. Let's see what it says. Here goes our system moving through here. And it's not been as cold here across a lot of the west. It's not dropping as much Arctic air down here across the west as the European is. But you'll see that impulse kind of on Tuesday here, maybe a few more inches for some of the higher terrain in Northern California, Northern Sierra Nevada. And it does show that system rolling down as we go through the day Wednesday. That's a better snowmaker there, and that goes through Thursday morning and maybe even down some precipitation for Southern California with that one as well, as that pivots off to the south and east. And then this weekend, it also shows some semblance of this system here, not quite as dynamic as the European model, however, but it does show some precipitation potential down all the way through Southern California as well. So that's one we're going to be watching over the next few days closely. Also, here's the GFS. We'll just go through the snowfall coming up here. There goes Wednesday's system there. Not a bad snowmaker for the Sierra Nevada. And then through this weekend here, again, some snow potential exists for that time period as well. Now, looking at the European versus the GFS 24-hour running total precipitation. Let's put this into motion, and you can see the system coming on Tuesday. A little bit more robust there, a little bit further south on the European, but then the better system rolls in here on Wednesday, and you can see some pretty good amounts on both the GFS and the European. Then the more dynamic storm on the European. Look at that, bringing some pretty heavy amounts all the way down the central coast towards Southern California, and bigger precipitation amounts as far as the Sierra Nevada goes here as well. So you can see the model discrepancy there. That's what we'll be watching here over the next few days to see which model starts to win out and how we trend into the future. And also looking off into let me put this to the Pacific North American oscillation. When are we going to get out of this cold north flow here? You can see this might continue on in through mid-January all the way out towards the 18th or 19th. Maybe we'll start to bring that southwest flow and some warmer, wetter systems in here at that time frame here. As you can see, we start to return to the positive area, but this is just kind of grasping at straws and looking at tea leaves here, just kind of giving you an idea that we may be dealing with these systems, as you saw at least through the upcoming weekend. Now, looking at 2-meter temperature anomaly, I got to show you last night's run here because the European and the GFS are so dramatically different with the extent of this cold air that comes down in the midweek period. So here we're looking at Thursday upcoming, and look at the differences again with the surface temperatures. You can see the GFS has Arctic air, but it keeps it mostly bottled up east of the Rockies. And you can see the European really wants to drop it down more across a lot of the west here as we go on in towards the following Monday. Look at the big differences in sensible temperatures there across much of the west here. So we have a lot to work out here as we go through the extended, and this has big, huge impacts here across Pacific Northwest. You can see what the difference was between the European and the GFS would bring. Trying to stall a little bit for the Pacific Northwest video here upcoming because I want to see the 12Z European run to see if anything changes. The GFS trended a little bit further west with some of this cold air, but not by much in its most recent run. So we'll see what that has to say off into the future, but you can see the big differences in the models. It's kind of a forecaster's nightmare as we look off into the future. And this is 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook. You can continue to see the west below average here as we go through mid-January. And kind of take this with a grain of salt as we go through January 20th there. Probably some above average here above California or over California. But anyway, yeah, hope you guys are liking these videos. We got more fun storms to watch coming up here. This is the next round as we go on in through next week. That's Wednesday's system. And then we have potentially even a more dynamic storm as we go towards next weekend here. But yeah, watch out for your pets and your sensitive plants here as we go through the next few days across much of the Southwest here, especially in wind sheltered areas. Things are going to get pretty downright chilly. Check your local National Weather Service for those frost and freeze warnings out there. And hopefully the next few rounds can bring some of a nice snowfall across the Sierra Nevada. As you know, that last storm was a pretty good snowmaker yesterday. But yeah, we'll continue to break things down day by day. Hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.